Hi everyone, welcome to my channel once again. Today I'm going to explain a poetry and its summary. Here we have a poetry, A Night with a Wolf. The poet of this poem is Bayard Taylor, is an American, and he began writing poems at a young age. He is a traveler too. A Night with a Wolf is a beautiful poem. It's explaining how he encountered a night with a wolf. So here I'm just going to explain the stanza and its summary. Little one, come to my knee. Hark, how the rain is pouring over the roof in the pitch dark night, and the winds in the woods are roaring. So, in the first stanza, the storyteller just giving the attention to the heavy rain outside. And it was a windy night and outside heavy raining. As I said before, the poet or the storyteller telling the story in a heavy rain. And the child and the storyteller, they were sitting together in their home. So during the same situation, the storyteller is explaining how he was encountered this kind of situation. The second stanza, shh, my darling, and listen, then pay for the story with kisses. Father was lost in the pitch black night in just such a storm as this. So the author, the storyteller, is just trying to tell one story which he had encountered or experienced in the same bad weather condition. When we come to the next stanza, we can see the story begins. High on the lonely mountain, where the wild men watched and waited, wolves in the forest and bears in the bush, and I on my path belated. So the poet or the storyteller is just mentioning he was lonely in a mountain where the wild men and they were waiting for some, the prey, and wolves, very dangerous wolves, they also waiting for something, and the bears in the bush, and the storyteller was alone, he was late. This stanza, as we discussed, the storyteller was late to go, or he was trapped in forest. So it was heavy rain, and the forest was really horrifying place. The day, the rain and the night together came down, and the wind came after, bending the props of the pine tree roof and snapping many a rafter. So here we can see the rain and the night together, both are horrifying, the dark night and the heavy rain. And in addition, there was a heavy wind. So because of the heavy wind, there was a bending pine tree and it just made as a roof. So the storyteller, he just crept inside the roof of the pine tree. I crept along in the darkness, stunned and bruised and blinded, crept to a fir with thick set boughs and sheltering rock behind it. So such a heavy downpour outside and the darkness too horrifying. So the storyteller decided to hid under a fig tree as a sheltering rock behind it. Very near, there was a rock behind. The next stanza, there, from the blowing and raining, crouching, I sought to hide me. Something rustled, two green eyes shone, and a wolf lay down beside me. The storyteller sought a place to hid himself. Suddenly he heard a rustling sound. Then when he turned back, he saw two green eyes that shone. It was a wolf, A wolf was sitting very beside, very near to him, to the author, to the storyteller. Really horrifying. Little one, be not frightened. I and the wolf together, side by side through the long, long night, hid from the awful weather. So the stanza, the storyteller just telling or comforting the child that don't be, no need to be frightened, and the story and the how the author or the storyteller and the wolf they spent their time together under that fig tree, and they were really friendly in that. In this voice we can understand that his wet fur pressed against me. Each of us warmed the other. Each of us felt the stormy dark. That beast and man was brother. So, very beautiful stanza here. If there is any situation, in such kind of situation, here both the author and the wolf, they both are sheltering in a place, right? But they both need a shelter. So here the understanding, mutual understanding between the man and the beast, it's very clearly understand from this stanza. So we are going to the next stanza. When the falling forest no longer crashed in warning, each of us went from our hiding place, forth in the wild wet morning. So almost that dark night, it was really horrifying, and the storyteller and the wolf, they were quite silent in the shelter. So suddenly they heard the sound, no sound outside, the falling forest. That means the rain is almost finished, and there were no long crash sounds. So they went out from their hiding place. It was a wild wet morning. Darling, kiss me in payment. Hark, how the wind is roaring. Father's house is better place when the stormy rain is pouring. So this poem, this stanza, it's mentioning about you don't worry. This rain now, as I told you from the beginning, the first stanza, the poet starts with a beautiful rain. So from the same circumstances or same situation, the storyteller is telling the story of another experience in the same situation, like the heavy rainfall. So the storyteller telling to his child, don't worry, it is a good time for us. We are, how the wind is roaring, no matter, now we are in the better place, we are living in the father's house. So